Today we are here in Amsterdam to interview Sophie Jacquet. Sophie Jacquet works for the Secret Lab, where she has the function of a social media manager. Hello Sophie.
Hi.
Bonjour.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So I'm going to ask you some questions with my fellow students. Annika Vaartjes and Jasmita Galko. So the questions are about the cultural differences that you feel in your company when you're working. So to start, the first question, could you please tell me if there are any cultural differences in the company you work for?
Yeah, I can see the differences. I think, for example, Dutch people are really more direct when they ask something, and they prefer to go to talk directly to the person than send an email, for example. When in France we are more formal, we're gonna send an email and then talk to the person. And yeah, we use a lot of could you please do that, and Dutch people just do that.
Okay, so they're very direct.
Yeah.
Okay. So next question. How is your relationship with the other staff members, since you're very international at your company?
Yes, so I can see obviously when I arrive in my company, the people come from other countries was more welcoming because they also experienced it before. Mm-hmm. So they come to talk to me more, and there is one French guy, he was always coming for the lunchtime, for example, ask me to come with him. Then when Dutch people were more they don't care because they already have their life in Amsterdam, so they don't need friends, you know.
Yeah.
So they come less to you, but once you know them, then they're super nice.
Okay, and do you speak French with this guy or also in English?
At the beginning he was always talking to me in French, but I think it's rude to talk in another language in front of people who don't understand, so I start to answer him in English, and now we talk in English, except if there is no one around us, we're gonna talk in French, but that's it.
Connected to this question, does it happen sometimes that the other persons, like the Dutch people, speak Dutch in front of you? And what do you think of this?
It's my boss always do that. For example, we are in a project meeting, and if I'm with one of the project manager who is Dutch, I start to talk in Dutch together, and I understand nothing. So my boss is quite rude. So at the beginning, I was more hey, please guys, I don't understand, so please make an effort. But then they still don't understand, so now I just laugh and said some stuff like "goed," yeah, "goed," and that's it. But it just, my boss is like that, but the other people, when I said yeah, guys, please, they make an effort and start again in English, but yeah.
So you had to adapt as well?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Next question is, whenever you get an assignment from your manager, do you think that there's a difference in motivation between the different cultures for the same assignment?
Yeah, I think what I saw for sure, it's French people, from both of us, me and the project manager who is French, we are always really late at work, we stay until we finish our task. Then when Dutch people and Italian people also, or Spanish people, they at 5:30, it's the end of the day, and whatever they have, they just come back home, you know. And yeah, so that's why we were late on some project. And for example, yesterday night, the boss told them please, just stay after 5:30 because we have to finish it, you know.
So sometimes you have extra time, overtime working.
Yeah.
Does it happen in France a lot?
In France, the company I worked, no, they were on time because the thing is in France, if there is something wrong, we're gonna start to scream at the beginning, you know. When Dutch people, they are more patient, I think.
Okay.
So they wait a little bit, and that's why, you know, you on the project, you're yeah, finally it will be 1 week later, you know. And Dutch people are quite okay, but if you do that to French, the French guy gonna come on your office and say what's happened, you know, you're gonna manage it and handle it, you know, so yeah.
Okay, so they're very focused on finishing things very fast.
Yeah.
Let's see, next question. How do you deal with conflicts that arise on your work, especially when there's a difference in culture? If you have an argument with someone that's Dutch or Italian, do you see this cultural difference?
Yeah, like, but it's like the Dutch, like for me it seems rude, but I know like for Dutch people it's normal to talk like that, but for me it's really rude when they talk like super direct.
Yeah.
Then like when I was saying just before, like French people, we really like take long sentence to answer to people. We are really scared to go like in a conflict actually, so we avoid it at the maximum.
You choose your words like wisely.
Yeah, really.
Okay.
Then when Dutch people know, it's like the mail. Like my boss today, I send him like long email to have an answer. He don't answer me, so I send a message like I just want a yes or a no, and he answer me yes. Okay, so now you answer me like that.
Okay.
So I have to talk like that. I have that.
Okay, last question that I'm going to ask you is. Have you ever dealt with an unethical situation at your work, like something that happened which you believe this is not acceptable?
But for example, when they start to talk Dutch in front of me, I think it's really unrespectful because I always try to talk in English to avoid that, you know.
Yeah.
Like, because I really think it's unrespectful because you're just here and you can't do anything because you don't understand. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think that in France people do adapt? They speak English in front of
No,
others?
but like because French
Just a
people,
question.
French people just don't know how to talk English, so they can't.
Okay.
But I think if they could, yeah, maybe they will. No, I don't know. They are also super proud of their language, so maybe not. But
Yeah.
the French who travel are more open-minded, and they
Okay.
will. But the real French people, if they don't move from France, nah.
Okay, thank you. Nice answers. Then Alika will ask you
Yeah,
this question.
the next question I had in mind was how important, do you see differences in importance of an education in France and the same education in the Netherlands? Is it valued higher or lower in one of the countries?
Yeah, but I can really see when, but especially when I was in Costa Rica for my study abroad, so I was with Dutch people also in my school, in my class. And so I was in master degree, but I was following the bachelor class. It was complicated, but anyways, on them too. But like they were working harder as me. When me in master, so obviously I was working more because master degree, you know, you have a higher expectation. But then even for the bachelor degree, they were doing that, and like I saw like all the papers they write, it's like really good. And just about language, you can talk a lot of language and like really perfectly. Then us in France, like we just know how to talk French and English a little bit, but not so good, you know. So yeah, I think like they really ask more in Holland.
And do you think that the business attitude, the working attitude of students or employees in France is different than from the Netherlands?
But after it's the thing like for example that Dutch people they really live on time and they really do their 8 hours and they leave. Then when in France we don't have like okay at this time we're gonna leave, or except in the public sector, but in the private sector we used to do more than we have to do, you know. So yeah.
Okay. And with leaderships, for example, a manager here or in France, do they treat employees a different way or do they handle problems a different way?
Well, I think like because French people are also pretty proud and more they have like a good job, more they are proud. So at the end they are acting like in Holland, but yeah, I really like for example compared to South Africa, people were like I was working there and people were so much cooler than French and Dutch people. Like they are really rude and authoritative when they ask you something, and it's even if you have an idea, they're not gonna really listen to you. You know, if they have their own ideas, they don't care about what you think. So
okay.
So it's hard to then to explain your ideas and make them change their mind.
Yeah, but just keep trying. Though,
Yeah.
right? Okay. And if you like compare the French culture to the Dutch in normal life, do you see like great differences on the street, for example?
Yeah, like at work, okay, it's not that good, but like after, like in the street, for example, like I'm really surprised how people are nice with bike, because like when you are in France, if you are in bike, they just don't care about you, and in car, in Holland, they're gonna stop just to let you, even like if you are walking, you know, and they're super nice, and also like when I go to work, like everyone is smiling, and if there is a little bit of sun, everybody is super happy, you know. Then in France, you know, they are, like for example in Paris, they are all always unhappy and like a bad face, you know. So yeah, that's cool here. Like they are more relaxed, I think.
And for example, if a Dutch person is going to do business in France, are they certain things that really need to keep in mind, like do's and don'ts that really have to do and focus on, for example, and really to just
Yeah.
stay away from that.
So don't be rude. Like use a lot of polite sentence, and yeah, you really have to be careful about that. And yeah, also a difference, I just think about the other question, but culture difference. Also, you're really, like, Dutch people are so nice because I lost my camera at a big event, and like they just give it to the staff working at the event. Then in France, they will keep it, you know.
Really?
And like apparently, so then I'm looking for, and there is a study that in Holland, when they make like a study, like in all over the world, they let a wallet on the street with money. So like in country like South Africa, obviously you don't see your wallet again. In France, you see your wallet back, but you don't see the money.
Without the money.
Yeah, and here it's like they give you everything back. So yeah, that's nice. But sorry, so the
I don't know if that is all the time, but I hope so. I mean, it's a good impression for the Dutch.
Yeah.
When you compare friends, you said it a little bit with to pick your words, but in communication, for example, like, do you use more sign language when you speak in communication, or
we are more
like your
expressive.
eyes? Or
I think we are more expressive. Like if you are happy, you can see it. Maybe not everybody, but I think Dutch people are like. When they are talking to you, you don't really know if they are happy or not. Not that, but they are less enthusiastic about really cool thing, you know. Like I think, like I mean, at least for me, and the French I know, we are super like excited for nothing, you know.
Okay.
But,
Those were my questions, and my colleague is going to ask you a couple.
So we have spoken about the punctuality in France compared to the Netherlands. What do you do if somebody is late in France usually?
If we are late, what happens? If you are at school, they can be really crazy, but then it depends of your situation. If you have really a high job, you know, people are not gonna tell you anything because you're late, because you're the boss.
Regarding to the answer, I have another question. Like you said, the French people were really polite always, but just before you said when their intern is late, they will say it like straight to their face, or is there like they're less polite to interns when they're late than normal?
Yeah, it's because like in France, like your job position really make the importance. So if you are director, you can basically talk how you want to your employees, or even if it's not a good thing, like it's not a good way to think like that, but still it's what's happened. And like when you're an intern in France, you're gonna make the coffee for sure, take care of the letters and all those things we don't like to do. Then here, like I think, like obviously I do also in Holland some intern tasks, but really less than if I was in France, I think.
Okay. Have you ever witnessed a conflict that was related to culture, like French, Dutch culture, and that you like witnessed it and you saw how it was handled?
Yeah, it was. We were shooting a video for our video blog, and so the project manager, but she was hungry this day, so she started to just talk to Dutch to everyone, and not in English. But I was the only one not talking Dutch. So I was with the three Dutch people talking in Dutch, and then she was asking me things like, "You can do that?" I was like, "Yeah, but I don't understand what you said just before in Dutch, so I can't just explain." "Oh yeah, you don't understand Dutch," and I was like, "Whoa, like so rude." So. At the beginning I was like, I really want to hurt her, but then I was like, calm down, so I was okay, I'm gonna take it easy. So she said again, like she started again to talk in Dutch, so I answer like in Dutch, like rude or shit like that, like goedemorgen, I don't remember what I said. So she was like, oh yeah, okay, and then she saw me smiling, you know, I wasn't showing I was hungry, so she started to talk again in English. But she do it several times again to talk in Dutch, so I was always doing the same thing. And 1 month after, she came to me and she apologized to do that. I was like, whoa, 1 month later, but still she apologized. So I was happy because still she think about it, and it's meant like, now she don't do it anymore, so it's cool. Fix the problem. But not with my boss for the moment.
Do you think that people underestimate the cultural differences? They will just think like, I'm gonna work abroad, it's gonna be fine, but there are like a lot of factors that play a role in working abroad, of course.
Yeah, I think like first people don't really think about the culture difference when you live in another country, and the second thing it's also like when you move like if you really travel, okay, in South Africa you can guess you're gonna have a shock culture, but if you are going to Europe, you go like, and especially France, Netherlands. I mean, it's like two developed countries, so I didn't think there would be like so much different culture. And finally, yeah, you can see. So at work, it's rude because like I think they are rude, but for example, on the streets, they are so happier than in France, you know. So there is good and bad thing, but yeah, like I really think when you're traveling close to your country, you think you're not gonna feeling it, and finally there is. So you have to be careful and adapt. Because,
so do you have an advice for people that want to go work in the Netherlands, for example, or just abroad?
But like if you want to work in Netherlands, so don't be shocked when they are like talking directly to you, because it's not bad. It's just they are the way to talk. And then like really, if you want to travel and go work abroad, just check some website and blog, because there is a lot of people writing about it, and check what is the different culture. It's what I do before to go to South Africa, for example. And I wrote something, it was, read something, it was, they always ask you how are you, even if they don't know you. Even if you enter in a shop or whatever, they're gonna ask you how are you. So, but I forget that, I read it, but I forget. And then I arrived at the airport, and the guy was like, so checking my suitcase, and he was like, yeah, how are you? So I was like, why are you asking me how I am? Like, I have a shit face, what's happened, you know? And in fact, no, it was just super fine, just the culture, they ask, everywhere you can go, they're gonna ask you, like, in any shop, and it's super nice. But yeah, like when you don't know, so I was looking rude, you know, like because I don't answer him, I was like, what do you want? So he looked at me like, oh, okay, foreigner, it's okay. But yeah, so just check before, it's good, it's gonna be fine.
Do you think your experience in South Africa has contributed to your behavior in the Netherlands?
Oh yeah, for sure, for my English. Because it was even worse when I arrived in South Africa. And yeah, I think like more you travel and more you become open-minded, and more you have this, you can see this culture difference. So then you adapt easier, you know, because you're used to it. I mean, I do it in Costa Rica, but I went to South Africa, to Nicaragua, Panama, and it's always different culture. So yeah, I think more you travel, more you're gonna used to it and adapt yourself, and it's easy. I mean, every culture is beautiful, have good parts, so just enjoy it.
Okay, then, so we would like to thank you for this interview. And
I actually have one question, it's just through the mind,
Okay.
and it's like, actually, I found it really interesting. Do you think, like, overall, depending on if it's in the Netherlands or in France, it's a good thing that people from foreign countries go work in the companies? So people, for example, which has been a Dutch company for over years, and French people are coming in and other nationalities who have a different look on things. Do you think that's like good for a company or bad?
I think it's really good because it's what I was saying, more you have culture, so more you become open-minded. Also it's bring new knowledge, because we don't study the same, like we study communication not in the same way in Netherlands and Spain or every country. So it's just make like your company more and more rich, you know, and yeah, more culture, more yeah, it's more rich, and then your project are just better. You have you have another view on your project, I think.
Okay, thank
Right.
you. Sorry for my last question. You can thank her now.
Thank you very much, and for taking time to talk to us. And
For your answers.
Okay, so just to conclude, what we just saw here is some points that I would like to point out. Is what Sophie just said is that Dutch people are very direct, which is a little bit negative sometimes if you come from another country. But in general speaking, Dutch people are very nice, especially on the streets, very social, I think so. And in your opinion, doing work experience abroad is something positive, not only for you, since you grow as a person, but it's also good for the company, since companies get knowledge from different parts of the world, and the same knowledge is studied in a different way. So it attributes to the general overall knowledge.
It brings several point of view.
Yes. Well, anything that we can add to this? So the last thing that I would like to say is thank you once more. We really appreciate that you took time for your interview, and we wish you all the best for your stay in the Netherlands with your job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Je me tire, me demande pas pourquoi je suis parti sans motif. Parfois je sens mon cœur qui s'endurcit. C'est triste à dire mais plus rien ne m'attriste. Laisse-moi partir loin d'ici. Pour garder le sourire je me disais qu'il y a pire. Si c'est comme ça bah fuck la vie d'artiste. Je sais que ça fait cliché de dire qu'on est pris pour cible, mais je veux le dire juste pour la rime.